Hey Taurus, this is your monthly reading for the month of June, and your central theme for June is security. And that has so many meanings, but for one, it calls you back home into your heart and to what matters most to you, your values and your beliefs, and the place within you that you can reconnect with your truth. It can also call you to look at where you come from, whether or not that created a feeling of security, and how it formed your beliefs around the meaning of that word. And so for this reading, think about security in all of its forms. Like the first type that comes to my mind, and probably most people's, is financial security. But we're being asked right now to expand our definition and to pay attention to the types of security that we sacrifice for others. I mean, like for other types. You may look across the street and be envious of what appears to be someone's financial security, but what you don't know is that their partner cheats on them. Or you may feel insecure about a disability or some perceived limitation, but look at your support system, how many people love you and are there to help you. So if you want to manifest security in one type, focus wholeheartedly on the forms of it that do exist in your life. And I think you'll have it you have it in spades in some way somewhere, and so connecting with that, it's going to call it in its other forms better than focusing and dwelling on insecurity. So for the first week of June, you have the Lovers in reverse with the moon. And so I can never decide where I want my hand, on this side or that side of the tripod. There's a fragmentation of self here, ways that you've had to compartmentalize or weaken yourself in the name of either fitting in, seeking a fleeting form of security, maybe trying to like lessen yourself so less would be expected of you, or so someone else will take over the wheel for a bit. And we have to accept help and to rest ourselves sometimes, but this is calling that out as not a way to live long term. It feels like as a metaphor, reduced bone density, or like the weakening of the core or stance because you're spread too thin or too wide, or like fracking or mining, creating unstable ground. It's talking about the way that you've probably taken from your inner security to build an external form of security. And with the moon, they're asking you to like go into your shadow to collect those fragmented parts and bring them back into the fold. So pay attention to your dreams and be brave enough to call yourself out on your motives, because that's what drives you, to see if you're serving that inner security or you're chipping away at it and mining it to create some kind of external structure. And so for the second week of June, you have the Ten of Pentacles with the Knight of Wands in reverse. The key word here is sustainability. So now they are turning your attention to financial or physical forms of security with that Ten of Pentacles. And this is long-term legacy type energy and how you go about accumulating wealth, however you define it. They want you to be mindful that it's a lifelong process. And is it something that you can keep up with, or will you soon peter out and start to feel like a dead man walking? They really want me to say dead inside. Be very careful that you don't build this on something that makes you feel dead inside. With the Ten of Pentacles, is this going to be a stack of paycheck stubs, or is it going to be something that people remember you for? Questions like, are you living to work or working to live? Are you building wealth while you live your life, or are you selling your life, selling your time? This security, it has to be more than skin deep. I'm hearing it has to be. And that's a great week to look at those things and to ask yourself those questions and to avoid maybe making commitments that could lead you into that direction. So for the third week, you have the King of Wands in reverse with the Six of Cups. And now they're wanting you to go back into the past and look at ways that you've been subject to the will of others. I feel like it's when you were young and trusting, and maybe this will was exerted upon you just as a show of power rather than protection. And how has such a dynamic shaped your relationship to security? Or it could be happening now, giving your away to power. You're giving away your power to a partner, a domineering boss, in the name of security, submitting yourself to someone else's will. are you being naive that they have your best interest at heart? I wonder. And maybe not, and that's not for me to say, but connect with your inner child and look at your own sense of power. How has it formed up until now? And what is its current status? Check in. Are you deriving security from the power of another or from your own core? And you need to go back and start to reparent yourself and rebuild that from the ground up. Are you placing your trust in something that can be taken away? Like, for example, I had created excellent job security within my company. I was performing well, I was moving up, I had tons of praise, tons to do, never ending, people coming in for me to train. The bosses were happy. I had done it. I had created job security. But what none of my bosses knew was that the parent company was going to shut us down, sell off everything, and we were all out of jobs. So I should have probably spent some of that time putting some trust in myself. And that's where I, talk again about making sure that security is more than skin deep. Let's see. And for the 4th week, Ace of Swords, 7 of Pentacles in reverse. This calls back to what I said in the beginning about reconnecting with your truth. You're able to do that here. It feels like being plugged right into that socket and channeling that live current of your deepest truth that's been hidden in shadow and distant memory. It shows you no longer waiting for permission to live your life your way, to define security your way, and to prioritize that definition of security, and to build yourself up rather than a structure that any big bad wolf can come and blow over, right? I think you could see results in something and then decide that you can't keep up what it took to create them and have to come at it another way, or at least can't keep it up forever anyways. And find a way to integrate all the forms of security and not just one at the expense of another. It could mean so many different routes and combinations of ingredients, and this reading can't tell you specifically what that recipe is, but it does look like a pivot of some type. But I'm seeing it's not something that's externally demanded or thrust upon you. It's something that you want that maybe you did not realize before. And it does show that your recipe for security and your plans to create it will become crystal clear, and that around that time, provided, following the progression up until that point. So if you want to hear what I have to say next month in July, go ahead and share, and subscribe, and all that good stuff, and I'll talk to you then. Thank you.